All right, to the phones. Here's Steve next on the phone. Steve, welcome.
Hi, Roger. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, Steve, go ahead.
As far as I'm a liberal, and earlier you were talking about this Holocaust Museum shooting, and I agree that it's not right to label conservatives as being more likely to carry these types of acts out, and it happens on both sides, and I have a little bit of experience with that, involved with the 9/11 Truth movement, which some radio hosts and also some mainstream media, television people have labeled anyone involved with the 9/11 Truth movement that this gentleman was a leader in the movement, which is a complete fabrication. No one that I know that's in the movement knows or have heard that he has been in the Truth movement. And anyone that is in the Truth movement or talking down about it should really take a look at some of the new things that have just happened recently in the mainstream media. Richard Gage, architect and engineer, has 700 architects and engineers signed on to a new investigation, calling for a new investigation into the events of September 11th, and he and these groups of engineers and architects believe that the 3 high-rises that day on 9/11 fell as a result of a controlled demolition. And there's also a recent.
Now, let me ask you, Steve, because my personal opinion is it's just so far-fetched and so out of a sync with reality. But let me just ask you this question. I mean, you do believe that the planes ran into the buildings, right?
Yes, and that's a misconception that people say, oh, they don't think the planes hit the buildings.
All right, so let me go through this. Let's clear up the misconceptions.
Okay.
You believe that planes ran into those buildings?
Yes.
All right. And you believe those planes were driven by terrorists who took over the planes and, for making their political point, ran into the buildings?
Yes. And I believe that's probably what happened. As far as how those buildings got into how those planes got into the buildings, I believe that, in my opinion, it was patsies, terrorist patsies, or people that actually Al-Qaeda people that were part of the plan.
So you think you actually believe, Steve? Let me try to connect the dots here because I'm not sure that you're all there. You actually believe that George Bush worked with patsies in Al-Qaeda, so that when the planes hit, within an hour later, well, I don't know how many minutes later there was, that explosive charges went up and the buildings came down.
Well, let me.
Yes or no?
One is the scientific evidence, and one's
no. Yes or no. Sorry, I can't. No, can't do it. Sorry, I got to have a yes or a no. Do you believe George Bush?
No, I don't believe. As a matter of fact, most people, I would say, in the 9/11 Truth movement, do not think that George Bush was part of any plan, and they don't think there's a grandiose conspiracy with all the government involved. This could be a compartmentalized type of operation. Now, let
me back up then. Let me back up to a more elementary question. Let me back up to more. If I could just have a conversation with you, let me back up to more elementary.
Let's talk about scientific evidence.
No, let me talk. No, okay, goodbye. So difficult to talk to liberals or crazy people, for that matter, because they don't want to have a conversation. Whew, man. Now, look, ladies and gentlemen, the planes ran into the building. Even he admitted that. How could you possibly have such a coordinated situation that you had planted without anybody seeing them? And believe me, it would have been a little tough. I've been in those buildings. Without anybody seeing them, planted a sufficient number of charges to bring the building down. There's no evidence of any such charges, of course, and I know people go, oh, this puff of smoke right here, right there on the... No. Now, I don't want to get distracted by this because I've got important stuff to do